Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Apurv Malik, and I am the host of today's webinar session being conducted by TNV Academy. Let me introduce you to our guest speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ajay Bajpai. In this webinar today, Mr. Ajay Bajpai will discuss about design and development of products and services, which is covered under clause 8.3 of ISO 9001. Let me remind you all that this session today is in the continuation of our discussion on clause 8.3 of ISO 9001, which was done earlier in our first part of the webinar. Mr. Ajay Vajpayee has audited several organizations for various management system standards and has helped several others for their implementation as well. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. He is also a lead auditor in ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301, and 50001 standards, respectively. He has an industrial experience of around 15 plus years as implementer of management system standards and around 32 plus years in auditing and certification. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and their certification and implementation. This was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the webinar.
Thank you, Apur, and the team members who have joined this webinar. Last webinar, we have discussed, the applicability of the design, responsibility, and so on. Once we have understood that yes, design is applicable for an organization, then we went on to understanding the details of this with respect to the design and development planning, because that is the first step into it. Once we have understood and done the design and development planning part of it, we have done an effective planning of how we will do, who all will be responsible, what will be the nature, and what is the documentation requirement, resources identification we have done into planning activity. Then we move to inputs. So we need to have who wanted this design, what are the requirements, what are the parameters required, what are the applicable statutory regulatory requirements, whether there has been similar kind of design and development activities for products and services. So all those activities were are the part of the design and development input. Once we have understood that, then now we start the discussion on design and development control. How this activity of design and development of products and services will be controlled. As I said in the last webinar, that this is an activity which needs greater understanding of engineering function, design activities regarding the products and services. So we go on further for the process of controls. So controls needs to be defined with respect to the results to be achieved. The inputs, the requirement from the customer or from the marketing team has come. Yes, that these are the results. It can be a performance result, it can be dimensional result, it can be a speed, it can be vibration, it can be noise level control. Whatever are the parameters, new parameters are required, they have been understood, and now we are talking of the control. So the results achieved needs to be defined. Also, we start the activities of review now. As the design and development is going on, we need to conduct regular reviews. As we have discussed that it will be a team activity, so the team will be meeting at different intervals as decided, as desired with respect to the progress, and they will be discussing what is the progress, and so that they can compare the input and output. Further we go on, the verification activities goes. Verification means the checking, the inspection activities goes on simultaneously or parallelly, so that we can understand, yes, that input and output are going side by side, means whatever was thought as input that is being coming out as output with respect to the development of drawings, with respect to development of prototype, sample development, so these verifications are required, at a definite frequency and as required with respect to the progress of our design activity. Also, we need to conduct the validations. Once the samples are ready, then we need to see that we are going into the field trials, the extrapolation, the interpolation, by extending the frequencies, putting on it to the monitors, putting on to the test beds, so that the actual results can be thought of by validating, by sending the sample into the market. Some new motorbikes are developed, so they are sent to the dealers, distributors. The cars are developed, new design, so they are sent to the dealer distributor. They are mostly given to their employees and suppliers, so that they will keep on running it, and they will see that yes, the results are as thought of and as specified by the input and as achieved into the outputs, and intended use are being achieved. The speed controls, the vibration monitoring, the exhaust control of a DG set, or the motorbike gear controls, or the motorbike pollution control levels, or whatever we have thought of designing as an input, they are being seen into the validation activity. Also, when we are conducting these reviews and verification as the design is progressing, we need to see if there are any issues, there are any problems, there are any variations into what has been expected, and what is the direction of the uh, outputs, and what is the validation being done. So whatever problems, whatever situations, whatever feedbacks we get from market or from the study of the products, when the samples are being used into actual practice, a silencer has been developed, it has been put onto a motorcycle. So now we are seeing the performance of the silencer. So, but there are some problems. The exhaust level, the noise level is not what thought of as a output. So we verify that and we take the necessary actions, and we go back to the input, we go to the study of output, and then we take actions. And all these activities need to be documented as first party, second party, third party auditors. When we go to the design department of a silencer manufacturing company, we would like to see that yes, they have documented, the input has been documented, the verification has been documented, the validation which has been conducted either their employee level or at service station has been documented effectively. So we verify the documentation, and if documentation is not adequate, we as auditors need to raise non-conformity or observations or major minor, whatever is the weakness into the documentation or whatever has not been documented as per the requirements. Also, we understand that design and development reviews, verifications, and validation have distinct purposes. When we are going to review, there's a purpose. We have thought of a input. So when we compare it with output, the sample or the output as a design or a prototype, there's a purpose to see that yes, we are going in the right direction. Then we are doing with the verification, the inspection and testing activity is going on. The parameters are being checked, exhaust levels are being checked, the emissions are being checked, the speed is being checked. So that verification is going on, and we take adequate actions accordingly. Also, the validation, the actual, the running of the product into the implementation, the motorbike is running, the car is running, the DG set is running now with a modified, revised design or a new design. So the validation has got a purpose so that we know the performance of the product. Okay. And what happens depending upon the organization, depending upon the products and service, these activities of review, verification, And validation can be done separately also, or it can be done together also. It depends upon what is the product, what is the service activity. So depending upon that, a combination of checking can be done, or they can be done independently. So this is what is about the design and development controls. We need to go through the reviews, verification, and validation activities when the products are being designed, or service is being designed, or it is being modified, or revision into the properties or performances are being targeted, and they are being implemented through design development, design input, design output, and then design development control process. So once we do that, yes, we know that the products, the samples are produced and activity is going on. Samples have gone into the market, we need to take feedback and so on. So the next activity comes is the output. Now we need to ensure that yes, the input meets the output requirement, or output is meeting the input requirement. It goes vice versa. Whatever we have thought as an input is now is getting converted as a output of the design activity. And then we go to subsequent processes. When we have developed a silencer, what is the, the packaging activity, what is the transportation activity, how the identification will be done, so that the customer will know that this is a new or modified design, or this is a new or modified service activity being provided as per the requirement of the customers, or as per the requirement of the final customer, or as per the requirement of our marketing department. And we have to verify that other processes are being going parallelly in control. Also, we need to take the reference of how we are going to do the testing. That means monitoring and measurement requirements. Once we have made a new design of a product or service, the changes have come. So naturally, to make the verification of those changes, we need to have a reference of maybe different set of testing equipment. The already existing testing equipments or measuring instrument may not be adequate to check it. So we need to take reference of a high frequency test parameter, testing equipment, or different level of measurement of noise level, measurement of different speedometer. We were having a speedometer which was calibrated into a range of 100 and 150 only, but now we are going for a speed new design with 200 kilometers per hour. So we need a different speedometer. So these measuring equipment, the reference, the new ones or as desired, they should be referred into our design and development activities, and particularly when we come to the design output. Also, we have to make clear the acceptance criteria. Earlier, the acceptance criteria were different. At a speed of 150 kilometer per hour, when the motorbike was moving, the vibration acceptance were different because the vibration level was different, the noise level was different, pollution control levels were different. So the acceptance criteria were different earlier, but now the acceptance criteria is different with respect to a new output of the design. So we need to refer and define and see that our team is understanding these requirements. Also, we need to specify the characteristics. There can be characteristics like different kind of paints, different kind of shining, different kinds of visual effects into services, different kind of presentation into the servicing activity and products also. So these characteristics needs to be specified when we are going to do this new studying the new output of the design. Also, we need to see the safety of the products and safety of the services which we have seen as a new output, because this is a different product, different service. So we need to see that yes, the safety parameter has been taken care of and provision have been created for that. And again, As an auditor, we will see the documented information of output has been retained by the company in hard, in soft, in the software or hardware, whatever way the company is intending to maintain the documentation, and those records needs to be presented to us as an auditor when we go for first party, second party, third party audits, and we verify these records, and then we develop a confidence that yes, design and development output is available, it is effectively done, it is effectively documented, and the controls are exercised by the organization into design and development output activity. Once that happens, then we go to a situation where we are going to get feedbacks from the markets, from our own team, from the suppliers, from the dealers. So what happens? Then the changes will be done, at a particular frequency or the speed or the noise level or the vibration, the shining, the capacity, the output controls, the capacity has been now been modified and feedback is coming. So the changes are there. We need to go into the input again, we need to go into the verifications again, and these changes are made subsequent to the design, because one particular set of design has been developed as a prototype or as a sample. Now the changes are suggested from the market, so we are taking those changes into drawing designs again, and we go back to the process again, and the loop is being formulated again. And the development of products and service to the extent necessary to ensure that there is no adverse impact on the conformity to requirements. The changes should be understood that the changes may be suggested by the market onto the samples on the parameters of the motorbike or car, but we have to see that the changes should not be making any adverse impact on the conformity of the requirement. The performance, overall performance of car or bike or the DG set needs to be taken care of by taking care of statutory regulatory requirement, customer requirement, and so on, so that the performance of product is under control. Also, we need to, as an organization, we need to retain the documented information again for the design and development changes. Whatever changes have been suggested or whatever changes we have taken into input and development, they need to be taken care adequately. And then results of reviews, again we are, after the changes, we need to again have a review done. So those reviews should be again documented effectively. Authorization of the changes, we need to define the authority who can accept the change, who can take further action onto the changes. It is the design manager, it is the engineering manager, or it is the engineering director or design director, whosoever is authorized by the organization as documented. So that needs to be maintained adequately. Documentation of the changes needs to be seen, because when we conduct the audits, we will see the changes and we will see who has authorized the changes. It should not happen that an unauthorized person, a junior person who is not responsible, who did not understand the adverse impact, he did not understand, the subsequent design and changes, who did not understand the impact of conformity to requirements, he has suggested some changes and reprocessing have started into the design. So it is important that authorized person only is initiating the changes and he is only authorizing the changes. We also have to see the documentation is done if any adverse impact are going to take place because of any changes. So those actions needs to be documented. If because of the speed, high speed in a motorbike which is newly designed, it may give a adverse impact on to the bikers, or to the riders, or to the traffic, and so on. So those impacts, the action needs to be documented so that we are not caught wrongly. We still are moving safe. We are still taking care of the safety. We are still taking care of the performance of our new design and development change incorporated into the production, process and service activity. So once that happens, what are the desired results? When we are going into a design activity, what is the expectation? You know, the organization core team is trained onto the concepts of the design. As we discussed, the design is a specific activity. So the core team of implementation, the coordinator, the design input team, the output team, the review verification team, the cross-functional team, they need to be changed onto the clauses and concepts of the design. Also, the 8.3 once implemented, it gives assurance that for a design responsible company, the 9001, the QMS will be achieved. You know, the intended results will be achieved. That yes, they will be going in for progressing for next stage of certification, or if stage 2 is done, they may be recommended for certification. So effective design, control design, NCs if raised are closed and design activity is going on under control, then the global requirements of design are also met and customer requirements are also met. Global requirement of sustainable development goals. New technologies are coming, new designs are being made, environmental control, the training control, the technological changes, the safety parameters which are the key to SDG and so on, they are controlled. These are the desired results. Also, the design activity will have design planning. We will also have objectives in design activity, and these objectives should be smart, language and meaningful and correct. So the design team should have clear understanding by way of a good language, by way of meaningful documentation of a particular objective, which means the input should meet output requirements 100% always in time, 80%, 90% in time, 100% at time, depending upon how an organization want to define it, but they should be logical. Saying 100% is not logical at times. So whatever current stage we have, for example, today our design output is meeting 99% of the input requirement. Validations are 95% effective with respect to the servicing feedback coming from the service station. So we need to now go for 99.2%, the 95.5%, not just say that 95 to 100%, 95 to 99.9%. So those are not logical, and the companies will not be able to achieve those objectives practically, and there will be gaps into the implementation. So language, meaningful and logical objectives are required, and they are meaning toward a desired results of effective design implementation. Meets the needs of interested parties. The interested parties also have a lot of inputs when we are going for a design change, design upgradation, new design or modification of maybe small things like packaging or color control or the brightness control or the size control with respect to few service or product activity. So their requirements are there that needs to be met by us as a design responsible company. Also, as a desired result, it is meeting the mission, vision, and direction of the top management. Top management has got a design policy. Then from policy, they have gone to the design objectives. So once effective design system is implemented, documented, and being followed, then design policy of the top management is met with. Also, we need to see the actions, how we are going to meet the design objectives with policy, and this should be integrated into the organization business process. We always have to see that, through context of organization, through the policy, through the requirement of the interested parties, through the customer requirement, through the final customer requirement, statutory regulatory requirement needs to be met. So all this will need to organization business process. We also have to keep on focusing on to the requirement of the business processes as we keep on developing the design activity, taking care of the different requirements of customers. We go further. Action plan and implementation. Now the documentation has been done, so implementation of design is going on as per our procedure, as per our work instruction, as per our SOPs, as per our charts. So we need to see that yes, we are studying it through the review and verification and validation process, and we try and see that effectiveness is enhanced all the time to meet the requirement of continual improvement. And our team need to update the data in design policy and objectives planning chart. We have design policy chart, we have got design objective charts. So whatever is happening through the implementation of it, we need to update that data into this. And for the design function, it is very important that accurate and precise calculations are there. Our temperature monitoring, our vibration monitoring, our dimensional parameters, our performance, our testing is done accurately so that the design is safe and design is meeting the input requirement through study of output and validation. So correct calculations by use of calibrated instruments and equipment is very necessary for effective to support the effective design action plan and implementation. And we need to keep on reviewing the data, the facts and figures, whether it is the customer feedback, the interested party feedback, the marketing team feedback, the purchasing team feedback of the changes. So the data should be analyzed on a continual basis by studying the facts and figures. No feelings of anybody. Maybe the customer say, oh, it can be good. No, supplier say, oh, it may be good. No, it can. No, may. No feelings. It should go on facts and figures, because design is a critical activity. It is a costly affair for the organization. Lot of resources, lot of money, a lot of time, lot of everything is required from the organizational side. New testing equipment, new machinery brought, new procedure being set up. So we need to go side by side with the fact and figure so that our money is spent, our time is spent, our resources is effectively utilizing by the involvement of all. We should not ignore the feedback of the suppliers, customers. We should not ignore the feedback, because a lot of good feedback comes from the workers, operators, when we are particularly implementing a new design and development process into the organization. A person who is a draftsman, who is making a new drawing, his involvement is very important. His dimensions, the parameters, the specifications, the performance of the machine which is being designed new. They give a lot of feedback when they are developing and trying. They tell what is the missing link, what is the missing link of the material specification. By even from the purchasing assistant, he says the purchase order for this new raw material is not having the parameters when I attended the last design review meeting. So the feedback and involvement of all is very important to see that a new product service design or a modification is being taken care in the positive perspective of the organization. So once we understood that, we come to the analysis and future actions. Okay, so now the designs have been done, implementation have been done, products, processes have been designed with respect to the new or modified designs of products and services. So we are going to have a detailed study of these new designs into the design objective charts by small group activities and cross-functional teams. They are involved and they are going to study the charts and They keep on suggesting and modifications are being done as per the requirement of the changes from the market or from the customers or from the supplier, from interested parties. And now we are having the data in front of us. We have got the design input, design development, design modification, design changes, design review, design verification, design validation, the test results, the data are there available in the hard and soft copy with us, generated by our implementation team. So now we use different techniques, SPC, SQC, and whatever cause and effect diagram, Pareto analysis, run chart, P charts, and we do the analysis of this data to give a direction to the design and development team themselves or by a separate team who is doing this strategy, the QA QC team at times, the analysis team which may be separate from the design team. So they give feedback to the design and development team that yes, this is direction going on now. We are 90% efficient in inputs. We are 95% efficient in output. Our validation are 98% effective. Our supplier feedback on new samples are 98.3% effective. So we then plan further actions by the design and development team. Once that happens, so we need to conduct a, now we are implementing the system into the organization. So what we need to do, we conduct a effective internal audit of design function, including the policy and objectives of design as we documented and implemented. And now we have got the feedback coming from here. So now we have the data, this file available. So trained auditors who understand the concepts of design only needs to put implementing into this design internal audit system. Any internal auditor who does not understand design function cannot do a effective design function. He need to be provided with a good checklist. He need to be trained to onto the concept of design function, design policy, design objectives. Then only he can bring out positive NC. We always say those NCs who can add value to our design functions. So the training of the internal auditors, their good and detailed audit of design functions by giving enough time. Some of the organization, the third party auditors, we see that design function, we see that there's audit of 2 days done by internal auditing team, but design function was only audited for 1 hour or for half an hour. So we understand that yes, the internal audit team did not understand the design function. So we raise non-conformities, observation, whatever is the category coming in front of us into the auditing when we are having interviews, when we are seeing the diaries, when we are seeing the files, when we are seeing the CAD CAM development, when we are seeing the drawings, we can understand that you see the concept of designs are not clear to the organizational team, including internal auditors, because they could see that a lot of designs have been done, a lot of customer feedbacks have come, a lot of changes have been suggested, but internal audit was just done for half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and there's only one sheet shown to us as a result of the design audit, which also has no observations, no area for improvement, no non-conformities. So then we have to raise non-conformity onto their design and development system implementation as internal auditors or second party auditors or third party auditor, whatever is the situation. Because we need to see that yes, they can effectively conduct this audit. They may need extra training, they may need extra inputs on design function, understanding of the design applicability. Once understood the applicability, how to do it, they need to go on design policy and objectives tracking for implementation. So now we have the results of internal audit. We have got 5, 6 minor non-conformities, maybe through internal audit, 8, 10 observation, and some other area for improvement and so on. So now what we do, a summary is prepared, and we know that your design input has got 2 MC, design output has got 1 MC, design validation have got 1 MC, design control have got 2 and 3 and so on. So the summary is prepared and these details with the internal audit result goes to management review meeting of a ISO 9001 under process of certification company or implemented when they are going for surveillance or recertification stage. So they conduct a effective review of design function and they review the internal audit results. The team of design is available into the management review meeting. Sometimes we have seen into the management review meeting only a junior designer or junior draftsman was available into the management review meeting. So how effective conduct of design function review will be done? Sometimes we have seen they were missing. So a design review function cannot be reviewed into the management review meeting. So we need to raise non-conformity as per the situation. So the design function means is not being implemented effectively into the organization. Once we conduct the management review, we further review the objective chart, we further review the design policy, and we implement the changes, and then we monitor and we take further actions. We do the tracking of our actions, our targets, our responsibilities, our revised objectives, our change objectives, our changes, and we look for improvement into the design function. So by way of conducting this analysis and future actions, we are able to do a effective improvement to the design functions. So just review what all we have discussed, into the design activity, applicability of design, who is responsible, customer, self, subcontracting. Then we need to establish a situation that yes, further actions are also being taken. So that is the concept of design, whether applicable or not applicable. If applicable, then we go to planning activity, design and development planning activity, which is the base for design activity. We understand the nature, the duration, responsibilities, authority, resources, and so on. Involve the interested parties, and we prepare a good documentation into the design and development planning. Once that happens, then we go to the understanding of design and development inputs. What are the inputs? The functional requirement, performance requirement, dimensional changes, the shining, the brightness, the color change, the vibration, the noise, the speed, the pollution control, the noise level control. All this is understood into the input requirement, and we need to maintain a documentation of the input requirements. Then we go to controls. What controls are required when we are going to have reviews? Means design activity is going on by the team, so we need to review at definite interval, either set or as required. Then we do verification, means the testing of the prototypes or whatever we have developed as rough or draft samples. Then validations, and then the reviews and validations can be done together or step by step or one by one, depending upon the products and what type of organization setup we have into the design function of our organization. Then we go to the output. Then the output is there. We need to document the output and it should meet the input requirement. We also have to take care of the reference of the monitoring measurement equipment, the vernier, the temperature control, the vibration monitoring activity, the noise level checking, the hardness checking, and so on, and the safe and proper provisions, and their documentation is required. When that happens, we go to the development changes. Whenever any changes are being suggested, we need to take them into a systematic approach. Once we do that, we are having the desired results of certification, yes, and we need to have smart language, meaningful and logical objectives and policies so that the implementation is going on as per the vision, mission and direction of the company, and they are well mixed with the business process of the organizations. Then we go for implementation of our documentation and design process, the drawing process, the modification process by effectively enhancing the design plan, the policy and objectives. And we need to conduct a good, precise, accurate calculations and update the data and figures. And then we do to the move to the analysis mode, and we conduct the review meetings, we conduct the analysis, we conduct the internal audit, we conduct management review of the design functions and objectives, and we implement and we go for improvement. When that is done by an organization, then they go for third party certifications. We have got a lot of information available into our websites, which are as here, and one can further study the requirements and the process and this thing, and further enhancement of this thing can be done. Our aim is to see that whatever knowledge level we have available with us globally, we can share with the team, with the ISO community globally, and they can read through, they can understand, and they can ask further questions. So now it is up to the team. If they have any questions, they can ask. Thank you.
If any of the participants has any questions, they can please ask. If you do not have any questions as of now, I would suggest that we will be uploading this particular webinar on our YouTube channel known as TNV Academy. And once this webinar is live, you can always rewatch it again in case you have not attended the complete webinar. You can rewatch it, and in case then you have any questions, you can place your questions in the comment section of the video, and we will be transferring those questions to Mr. Ajay Bajpai, and he will be definitely happy to answer them. We can now come to the conclusion of this particular session of today's webinar. I would say that in these two parts, which were conducted separately for understanding the clause 8.3 of ISO 9001, which is design and development of products and services, these two parts has been conducted very well and has been described in a proper manner by Mr. Ajay Bajpai as per his knowledge and understanding, and shows that what deep knowledge and understanding and complete asset he has on the grasp he has on the topic and on the standard as well. So we thank Mr. Ajay Bajpai on behalf of TNV Academy for sharing his thoughts and processes on these two sessions which were conducted for clause 8.3. And we will definitely be coming again ahead with some exciting new topics which are not covered till now in our webinar sessions. So thank you all of you for giving your valuable time in participating in this particular session. And thank you once again, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, for your valuable time and effort that you have invested in conducting this webinar smoothly. Thank you all. Have a great day.